Welcome back, grade 12s. In this video, we are going to be doing yet another question on simplifying trig expressions without the use of a calculator. This question was taken from a previous question paper, and as you can see, it is worth 6 marks. What we were given was tan 480 degrees times sine 300 times cos 14 degrees times sine minus 135 all over sine 104 times cos 225. The first thing that you need to do, grade 12s, as I've discussed in the previous videos, is that you need to construct your cast diagram, right? And then you just need to label it and fill in the details or fill in the values for each quadrant. Why? Because when you're reducting or when you're using the reduction formulas, right, you need to know what is happening in each quadrant. So in the first quadrant, we have everything as positive. Second quadrant, we have sine as positive. Third is tan, and the fourth is cos, right? And then we also need to sketch our two triangles where we get our special angles from, right? So the first one is 45 and 45, and then 1 and 1, and then the hypotenuse will be √2. Then I'm going to sketch the second one. Just put in the angles here. This angle will be 60, that one will be 30, and then the opposite of the 30 degrees will have to be 1, and then the adjacent of the 30 degrees will be √2, where the hypotenuse is 2. Sorry, it will be √3. The adjacent of the 30 degrees will be √3, and the hypotenuse will be 2. Right, so that is all that you just need to know by head, right? And then the rest you need to apply. And I've discussed that when you are given 480, it means that you need to subtract 360 from there, right? So in the first quadrant, we know that we have 90 minus cos theta, and then we have 360 plus theta. Second quadrant, we have 90 plus cos theta. Sorry, we have 90 plus theta, and then we also have 180 plus 180 minus sine. Sorry, we have 180 minus theta. And in the third quadrant, we have 180 plus theta. And then in the fourth quadrant, where cos is positive, we have 360 minus theta. All right, so cool. Let us start. Right, so we need to simplify this first, okay, or like reduce it, right? We were given 480 as the angle, right? So what happened to get 480? You need to subtract 360 degrees from it to know what was added to 360 to obtain 480. So you realize that for us to get 480, we added 120 to 360, so we are just going to subtract 180, right? We are going to subtract 180 from there. We are going to subtract 360 from 480, and we get 120. And how did we get 120? Well, that was easy. We said 180 minus 60. That is how we obtained 120. So you need to write in the bracket, because in that bracket you need to have 180 or 360, right, and the special angle for you to use the reduction formulas. Okay, so moving on to the 300 one, sine 300. What happened? We subtracted 60 from 360 and we got 300, right? And then when we say sine 360 minus 60, we will see that sine 360 minus 60 falls in the fourth quadrant, and only cos is positive there. Therefore, this has to be minus sine 60, right? Over here, we had 360 and we were subtracting a special angle, so we can just reduce it from there. Okay, now the 14 degrees, this one at this point, you can't do much with it unless you get to the denominator. So we need to leave it like that for now, and then move on to the minus 135, right? So when you have a negative angle, as discussed in the previous video, you just need to add 360. So it will be sine 360 minus 135, and you will look in the quadrant where sine is in the quadrant where you have 360 minus an angle, and you will realize that that is in the fourth quadrant, and there only cos is positive. So now what you're going to do, you're going to say minus sign because it is in the fourth quadrant, right? It's negative. But now you will have minus sine 135. But what is 135 equal to? Well, it is equal to 90 plus 45, right? And you realize that 90 is somewhat of a special angle, and also 45 degrees is a special angle, right? And then you can use the 90, understanding your core functions, right? And then you can change that. Okay, so let us move to the denominator. All right. Okay. Right. Over here, we are given sine, sorry about that. We are given sine 104, right? Sine 104. What we need to know, or what we need to find out, is what was added to what to obtain 104. We realize that we have 90 plus 14. Though 14 is not a special angle, we realize that on top, on the numerator, we have 14 as well. So we need to bring in 90 plus 14. And then the following one, the cos 225, you just need to find out what was added or subtracted to obtain 225. And 180 plus 45 gives us 225. So in your bracket, you need to have either 180 plus a special angle or some angle, but as long as you have 180, right? And it must give you what is in the original question. Like 180 plus 45 gives us 225 and so forth, right? So now we need to use the reduction formulas, right? Now we are just simplifying it. So we have 10 180 minus 60, right? You will see that 180 minus 60 is in the second quadrant and only sign is positive. Therefore, it will have to be minus 10 60 degrees. Okay, minus 10 60 degrees. Okay, and then we move on to the sine one, but it is already in its simplest form. So we are just going to multiply, because we have a negative 10 60 and then we have a negative sine 60. If we multiply the two, they become positive. So I'm not going to write the negative signs now. I'm just going to write sine 60. Okay, times cos 14. I'll leave the cos 14 for now because I can't do much with it at this point. Unless I find myself stuck at the end, then I can always think of coming back and do something with it. Okay, now we have minus sine 90 plus 45. Okay, so sine 90 plus 45, right? So 90 plus theta, which is 45 in this case, is in the second quadrant where sine is positive. So we're just going to change the function and make it cos. So now it won't be sine 45, it will be cos 45 degrees, like that. But it has to be negative. Why? Because we already had minus sine. And then we're going to divide that by the denominator, which we are going to simplify, right? Now we have sine 90 plus 14. In the second quadrant, you have 90 plus an angle, which is 14 in our case, and sine is positive there. Then you're just going to change it to the core function, and it will be cos 14, right? And then we move on to the cos 180 plus 45. You will realize that is in the third quadrant where you have 180 plus theta. In our case, theta is 45, right? And only 10 is positive in the third quadrant, so it will be minus cos 45. Okay, now we need to simplify the fraction. You can see that we have cos 14 there on the numerator, and on the denominator we also have cos 14, so we can just cross that out and we can just move to our special angles now. 10 60, we'll need to look into our 60 triangle that has an angle of 60, right? It will give us adjacent over opposite over adjacent. So let me just write SOHCAHTOA. Okay, cool. So you must also always write this so that you don't make silly mistakes. Okay, so what we have for 10 is opposite over adjacent, which is root 3 over 1. So you can just write that as root 3. Okay, let me just correct this. Okay, I made it look weird. Okay, so let me just try to rewrite. Okay, cool. So we have root 3 there times. Now what is sine 60? Sine 60 is opposite over hypotenuse, right? Opposite over hypotenuse, which is going to be root 3 over 2 times minus cos 45. Now what is cos 45? It is 1 over root 2. All right, so I hope you guys find these videos helpful. If you don't understand the way I'm explaining something, please just clarify or ask in the comment section. Don't be shy. We are all here to help each other. All right, so on the denominator, we have cos minus 45. I made a mistake there because those two just cancel. I shouldn't even have written that as well, because we have minus cos 45 on top and minus cos 45 in the denominator, so they should just cancel. So now we're going to just multiply what we have here. Root 3 times root 3 will give us 3. 1 times 2 will give us 2, and that is the answer, ladies and gentlemen. It is 3/2 for 6 marks. It was an easy one. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to share, like, comment, and subscribe.